Welcome back. Every day at noon on the TD WebBroker platform, you can catch Money Talk Live, hosted by Bonnell. Every show, viewers not only get a chance to listen to interesting guests, they can also ask interesting questions. And Greg joins me now and has some highlights from some of the guests that he heard from this week.
Kim, when you think about everything that's happening in the world right now, there's no shortage of interesting questions to ask. No. And our guests are very intelligent people who keep on top of all these things. So you throw things at them live and they take them live. Earlier this week, we had James Dixon on the show. He's Director of Family Office Solutions at TD Securities. One thing that's obviously been in the headlines lately is the future of the U.S. dollar. One of the top questions right off the hop, and this is how he took it. We're taking your question about market trends, so let's get to them. Here's one that people have been batting around in recent weeks: de-dollarization. Is this a trend that we should be watching? The end of the dominance of the American buck?
It's actually a great question. It's something my clients have asked me about quite a lot over the last few weeks. I can understand the concern. On why people don't want the dollar anymore. You have the weaponization of the dollar, when the war in Ukraine broke out and all the Russian assets were frozen. You really removed the rule of law by making that change. I can understand, the pushback because it gives the US unfair advantage. There's been a lot of talk about a BRICS currency forming, to challenge the dollar. I think these are all valid points. But does it mean a de-dollarization? I think the answer is no, right? Fundamentally, which other currency can really challenge the dollar? I mean, whether it's a BRICS currency or a euro, both of those currencies are fragmented. The US is consolidated. I think you have a situation where 80% of global transactions take place in dollars. Even if that dropped down to 60 or 70. Does that mean de-dollarization? And the answer is no.
James is one of those sort of big thinker people who sort of has the big macro ideas in his head, but a lot of the guests are that way as well. Damien Fernandez was on the show. He's a portfolio manager with TD Asset Management. Of course, the other big question right now sort of hanging over the markets is this whole idea of, can the politicians in Washington agree on a manner of getting the bills paid? Very interesting there. Take a look at how Damien handled that one. We touched on this briefly in the opening chat, but let's dig deeper because it could be a big one for us for a while. Do we need to prepare for any issues regarding the U.S. debt ceiling?
Oh, yeah, that's so the last time we've had this off, where it was a real risk was 2011. And if you remember in 2011, ultimately, I think like this time around, we will come to an agreement because the alternative is probably goes against a politician's number one goal, which is to get reelected, right? You don't get reelected by defaulting on the debt, which they won't do, or by stopping payments to Social Security or Medicaid that people are required to live on. So, but you need a motivating force, and historically that motivating force has been lower markets. Right? In 2011, it was, the markets throwing a tantrum that that motivated politicians who were being intransigent on negotiating for debt ceiling to actually sit down at the table. This time around, I'm hopeful because the Congress has actually passed a platform. There seems to be signs that the administration is willing to negotiate. But to be clear, the tax receipts are coming in much below than forecast. So this isn't a, we can wait till, Q3 September. This is we have to deal with this because the U.S. will run out of money sometime in, early midsummer.
It's unbelievable that we're going through this again. I mean, we go through this, it feels like all the time.
Yeah, we're being told by, I guess, low probability but high impact that did happen. So it's a story that will continue to have people asking us questions. So next week on the program, we're going to be talking tech on Monday. Vitaly Mosinov is going to be on. He was the first guest ever on Money Talk Live. Always great to have Vitaly back with us. Brad Simpson, TD Wealth Chief Wealth Strategist, another big picture thinker. He'll be joining us. Scott Colburn, active fixed income. These are fancy words of talking about the bond market. And David Tong is going to be on from Argus Research talking about some of the healthcare stocks and what's happening in that sector. So it should be a good week.
Amazing. Look forward to seeing what people are asking. Not only do we have smart guests, we have smart viewers. They ask good questions.
Oh, definitely, indeed. And keep the questions coming in. We'll take them on the fly.
Thanks, Greg. That's Greg Bonnell, of course, host of Money Talk Live on TD's WebBroker. That is our show for tonight. Comments or questions, if you'd like to get in touch with an advisor, you can always email us at moneytalk@td.com. Great to have you with us. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kim Parley, and hope to see you again next week.
The preceding paid commercial program was brought to you by TD Wealth.